I think it's been a real success. The session's been a real success. One of the challenges that this legislature had, along with the governor, is expectations were very high. There was a lot of enthusiasm in this town about the ability of the legislature, along with the leadership of the governor, to accomplish things that had heretofore been difficult, things that needed to get done in state government. The legislature was able to do a number of them. Some things remain undone and can be addressed next session. But I think they overall get an A for effort and an A for accomplishments, yet there's more to be done next year. Let me talk about the area of tort reform, which is always a key element that needs to be addressed. Every year the legislature meets. There are issues around Florida's tort civil justice laws that need to be looked at. This year, one of the priorities of the governor, as well as the legislature and the business community, was undoing a ill-advised Florida Supreme Court case dealing with the liability of car makers for injuries that result as a result of accidents. And the legislature took that on and was able to reverse an injustice. And now people who cause injuries are going to be responsible for them, and people who didn't cause the injuries won't be responsible. So that was a major accomplishment. There was 2 or 3 issues around medical malpractice liability. Florida leads the country in the cost of medical liability insurance. We don't want to be number 1 in that area. We'd be better off being in the middle of the pack. And there were 3 bills that were targeted towards that that were quite meaningful. One specifically dealing with Shands teaching hospitals, number 1. Next one dealing with the University of Miami. There was a 3rd bill that was generally applicable to all medical liability issues that passed the legislature. Not quite as strong as we had hoped, but it was good, a good piece of legislation. And then the final bill that was out there is Medicaid reform. The legislature undertook a comprehensive effort to try to modernize, improve the quality of care of the Medicaid system in Florida. As part of that reform measure, there was some liability protections for physicians and hospitals that deliver care to Medicaid recipients. And we believe that that piece of the Medicaid reform will encourage physicians to participate in the Medicaid system and will lower the cost of Medicaid for all of Florida's taxpayers, as well as improve the quality of care. Well, we've talked about tort reform. We've talked about Medicaid reform. The jury will still be out on the overall success of the Medicaid reform implementation is yet to begin. But I think another couple of areas that deserve, the legislature was able to balance the state's budget without increasing taxes on Florida families and businesses, and I think that is a huge accomplishment, and the legislature and the governor are to be commended on that. Another area, I think, that the legislature is restructuring some of the state's employment practices dealing with state employee pensions and bringing those into a modern era in line with what's done in the private sector. And the other thing I would mention is the health insurance system for the state employees, which is a huge cost driver of the state's budget. And again, the legislature has taken a step in trying to bring those, the health insurance system. And so I think those are some accomplishments that the legislature should be very proud of. Again, tort reform I've mentioned, that is an excellent. One area where there's some unfinished business is dealing with the court system. I know Speaker Dean Cannon had a comprehensive initiative designed to try to strike a little bit more balance with the court system. He had probably a dozen proposals. Only about 2 or 3 of those made their way till the end of the session. Probably the number 1 issue that the legislature ought to take a hard look at next year is who picks the judges of our state. Right now, the process is partly controlled by the Florida Bar, and I know the Speaker has a interest in trying to make that more accountable to the public, and the debate will go on regarding that between the legislature and the governor about how best to pick judges in our state. It's a critical, important part of our government, the judicial branch, and to ensure that the public has confidence in that is key and paramount.